Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 9th of September 2019. Today we're going to run through some pairs. Okay, let's start at the Euro US dollar and see what's going on here. Let me delete all objects. Done. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's go to the monthly and see where we are. You can see that, this is looking pretty heavy, I must say. And we had this really sharp pull-off which took out all of these children just here, and our price is kind of reacting to this monthly supply here. Swaps are negative, and so the longer term holding is to sell this, at least for the time being, and until the Fed continues to cut rates, which will affect the swaps here. Price is kind of wriggling down, as you can see here. There's no supply in here. There's probably some divergence going on here, which let me use this tool instead, which we sometimes will see here. Okay, you can see how price went down, then price popped up. So this is kind of, if you're into that kind of thing, they're the head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, and the other shoulder just somewhere over here maybe. So people might be looking to do something there. No. I don't like this kind of stuff. I will always look lower. Why? Because the beginning of the buy zone is now here, which brings our attention to this little beauty right here. If we mark off, first of all, before we do anything, let's zoom in and have a look at this. So we have the candle to the left is this one. Accumulation, 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 not accumulation. So we have this little thing going on here. We have quite a few months of accumulation, almost half a year, and then price left. Okay, and this was used to consume this supply here. So we had supply here. You can see here, here. Okay, this was here. Price went down. Now we kind of formed this base. We rallied, accumulated, rallied. Then price rallied, and then it popped up. And so here you can see, this area of accumulation. You see it's accumulation because the candles are white. Is responsible for consuming this, and so this is what was tested on the way up. But we've moved through that, and now we're moving lower. And this brings our attention to the next area, which is, let me remove this, which is lower, which is this down here. So what I do like about this is, I'm going to look at the candle that left and the low of that, which is here. So this is going to be the beginning of the sell zone for me. So I'd mark off from the low to the lows here, maybe a little bit more, so we get this bit of protection. Now I'll be looking at that to buy here, but I wouldn't do anything here. There's nothing in here that I'd feel comfortable about buying, and this is because price is still going down. We still have rectangles above price telling us that we have price wriggling lower. Okay, this has been tested, so this is the one that's currently in play, and we still haven't reacted to anything in here. Yeah, and so I'd expect price to continue moving lower until we get to here. So I'll be continuing to sell the Euro US dollar. Let's just go to a different time frame here. Go to the weekly chart and have a look. We can see that the software found this nice area of demand. Price bounced on it, and now we're kind of sitting on it. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen until it happens, and so we don't have to do anything for the time being. But what we do have is we have a weekly demand that's currently driving price, and this is a pretty nice release. How price kind of gapped up, accumulated, gapped up, came back, and then shot up. Okay, and this one here, I'm just going to mark off the whole area has been tested. Okay, the area took that out is, you got to find the swing that moved through it. Kind of went through here. You can see the blue bar just below. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so you can see here, and so it's kind of up here. So if we mark that off, kind of here, like that, and price came up to it, and now we're kind of moving lower into here. This is not a super area of supply because price is still kind of wriggling around. We don't have a whole lot of pushing going on, but we do have a couple of continuation patterns. Here was one there, which is holding. And we had this one here, which shot down, but this didn't really consume anything because there's nothing over here. And so, I'll be looking to short, but I would want price to take this out before I continue to sell. Okay, this is longer term. Okay, keep that in mind. And we do have downward sloping trend lines both on the weekly, as you'll see. Come on, software, do something. Oh, we saw that earlier from this high to this high. On the daily chart, we saw it from here to here. So price, there it is. So we can see price is still moving lower. We have supply driving price. For the time being, price is kind of fiddling around at these lows here. The robot's telling us that it wants to sell here, but I wouldn't feel that comfortable selling there on this time frame because the risk reward is not good enough. Because if we were to get in here and our stop was up here, I mean there would only just be a 1 to 3 risk reward here. So that'd be have to be a little bit careful there, I'd say. But you can see that price is pretty efficient. There's a lot of efficient trading. How price is going down. We have an origin, new origin. We return to the origin. We return close to the origin. We go a little bit deeper. Okay, this one kind of came a little bit short, but then we came deeper and then deeper. So we rebalanced this. And now we have this down, accumulation down. Price kind of came up into it 2 times. Now we're wriggling. Now we're kind of moving higher. So I would expect price to kind of have another push higher and find something up here. I'd prefer something up here than something in here. But if I saw this trend line break, so if price managed to move above or up to this trend line, accumulate and then move higher, well then I would no longer be selling. I'd be looking much higher to sell. Okay, because this would be a sign that we have fresh demand entering. We are testing weekly demand. So rally, accumulation, we've caused market structure to fail, so the alarm clocks should go off and tell me, okay, careful selling. Okay, so that's what we kind of have going on now, but we don't have any follow through yet. So until this trend line, this market structure fails, which it has not yet done, we can continue to sell. So you could find areas that lap over this. The robot's trying to point something out to us. So let's go on to the smaller time frame, and like this one here. You see we have. So if we just go low, high, low, it's taking the big ones. From here to here, the price has already been down to here. From here to here, price has already been, you see there's a lot of wicky candles here, which I don't like. And so we had this one here, you see price kind of pulled back before it shot off. We came close to that, but we didn't, and now we didn't really have a huge sell-off. But what I'd like to see is price to come a little bit deeper, kind of move up here. And I do like this right here. This is pretty interesting because price did not get there yet. So last time it came up to this level, we managed to push all the way down here. So I'd be looking to short from around this level. Okay, looks kind of interesting. And after that, there's nothing here until we kind of get up to here. Okay, there's nothing in here. This is ugly, it's been tested. So this now is gone. You see, and so we want price. We could take this one, but you'd have to be a little bit careful because we are reacting at weekly demand. So just be a little bit careful. We do have that. I don't like this above. There's a lot of trading here, you can see, which thins out liquidity. There's a lot of that going on here. So no good. So we have to look higher. So ideally we'd be looking around here, but for a shorter term we could see if we could squeeze something out in this area here, so around the 111.60 area, and up about maybe 30 or 40 pips or so. Okay, so that might be interesting there. And there was something on the pound yen that Philip was talking about. Put the default on. All these templates, default, new, default, this. Okay, cool. So let's have a look here. Let's have a look what's going on here. What's going on? Let's mark off these swings. High, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, that's a pretty long push. 1, 2, 3. So if you're into Elliott wave, you could do something like, the thing I don't like about Elliott wave is it's so subjective. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we have A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. So we're looking for another kind of 4, and if we're looking for another push lower below here, we haven't got that, so maybe we'll get it here. We've got this little area there. So you can see, let's remove all these lines. For the time being, the price is kind of stuck. I like this one a lot actually. I really like that one. It's a very beautiful pattern. Not yet tested. You can see the box is untested. So I like that. Looks pretty interesting there. It's a really strong move. We also had on smaller time frames, we had market structure here. Okay, this is the area that caused market structure to fail. Boom, we had a really good test. This trade has actually happened, but because price didn't get up here before, we could have another stab at it. You can see here as well that we had this really nice candle here, accumulation just prior. We had kind of the slingshot pullback here, and then it left. So, I mean, look how accurate this is. The slingshot was pulled back to here, and price got pretty close to it. Not quite all the way there. I don't like the big wicky thing here. We have this one, price moved below, so this could be interesting. But you can see that if we mark off these levels, boom, 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 we do have a trend line like that. So we have downward sloping. We'll mark that off from here to here. Cool. Let's have a look here. Oh, something's going on there. So we do have that, and that brings our attention to this. I don't like this mess here, but this release looks okay. So this is when it gets really important, when you really have to do your analysis properly, because when you look at this, you have to find these areas. When it gets messy, then you have to be spot on with your analysis. Okay, so let's see if we can be spot on with our analysis. So, okay, we have to find supply and demand. Okay, here we had this. Okay, this is supply because it moved below here. We had a nice pattern. This is gone. This is now gone. The origin of this that took it out it's in here. It's a little bit messy. You can see we have a white candle there. Let's have a closer look at it. Where are we? Okay, so this is gone. Obviously, all these levels are linked together. You see very clear trading. So I would want to move to the deepest pullback, which is down here. So I'd go from the low, the deepest pullback, to around here. And this is where we have kind of like, we have a slingshot here. We have the clear swing. It comes back down here. There's something in here. This was tested once. It was tested twice. The next time is when it went through. Not this time, but this time. So we move this over here. The high of the candle that departed is right there. It's tested. Okay, now this is gone. What area did it? So let's move this back. What area did it? We have here, we have this little area here. It's the origin of the big move. But this is a child. The parent is here. What area took it out? This one did. See, this would not have been on the chart until 1, 2, 3, until this candle closed. It was tested, and now we're waiting for that little bad boy to be removed. Sorry, I'm drawing these wrong. Good Lord. Okay, so now you can see that we are looking to cut through that. If that happens, then I'll be looking to buy here, at this area just below. Okay, can you see why? I hope you understand why I'd be looking to buy here. So we have that. So we have this one here, which is the area that is in the process of removing that. We can leave this one on for the time being. Okay. Yeah, if we go through that, well then we have demand below price. We have demand, we have accumulation, and that kind of lets us know that we can then, actually we can already now draw our upward sloping trend line from here to here. Okay, so if price manages to move through that and then come back and overlap with this little price nodule here, then I think we're in good shape. Interest rate swaps are positive, so we could hold that. Philip, you mentioned this up here. You could certainly get involved with that, but notice that because this is really extensive, excuse me, got the hiccups, extensive trading and around the area, I would be looking to go something like that. Okay, and you might even want to go to the smaller time frame to have a look, and we'll do that now. Okay, so slingshot was pulled back and then we dumped, so I would certainly not want to sell for a price any cheaper than the 82.80ish area. Okay, or the high of this candle, which is 82.70-ish. Okay, let's go to the 4 hour and have a look. Okay, so what's going on here? So we have these micro areas in here. We have this area of accumulation, which is not within the body of this one. So this is kind of continuation pattern, micro continuation pattern. Price tested the top of it, and now we're moving higher. It looks like we're crunching away at that. We do have this little fresh area here. I would prefer that the wick was on the upside, but it's not, so that's okay. But we have this tiny little area here. This is interesting because we have this here, tested once, twice, 3 times. And this kind of nested on it, and this is the one that removed it and moved lower. So you could certainly go for the 8200 there and short and follow price lower, but your stop would have to have a bit of protection. Yeah, so just be a little bit generous with your stop here, because this is a pretty small area. What are we looking at? At 12 pips. That's not a whole lot. But then again, you could look higher, as we saw earlier, which would be up here. And let's focus really clearly now on these little tiny price nodules. Let me zoom in. Okay, now we've got to find out what did what. So we've got to find demand. Okay, this is difficult because it's really ugly, but we're going to do it on this price, on this time frame. Okay, and then we're going to do it on this time frame because otherwise we'll be seeing too much detail, and we just want to focus on the micro areas here. So there's nothing really in here, nothing in here. We had a push here, push higher. Okay, this was taken out where price went through it here. Oh, actually went through it there. So this goes up here. Go to the deepest pullback, which is here. Tested once, twice, 3 times. Went on again. This is still good. So now we need to find some supply. Sorry, some demand that was taken out, and then we have to find this, the supply that did that. So we had that here, which is gone. If we look a little bit lower, we have to look for the kind of bounces, if you know what I mean. Here we have some lows gone, so we do have some accumulation here. We want to look for these wicks. This is tough, okay, and we can't force it. If we look here, we have this. It's not a pretty area. We had a bounce. This did that. This is gone. Low of this, okay. This is gone. Bring our attention to this. This is gone. This brings our attention to this, which is a reaction to this, which is not even pretty. This is really ugly stuff. Okay, so we'll just go like that. Tested once, twice, 3 times, and then now it's gone. So now we have something. Let me turn the software off. We have to do this stuff ourselves. Okay, and so now it's been tested once, twice, 3 times, and now it's gone. Okay, notice that there's something just in here. See the wick? So zoom in. Sorry, zoom in, wrong button. Accumulation, not accumulation, pull back, and then release. Okay, so let's mark this whole area off here. we'll go to the hourly and we'll have a closer look inside there and see what's going on. I think that was it right here. Okay, so we had lows, we had bouncing on that demand, and we accumulated. So if we mark off that area, this is not pretty stuff. Ain't pretty, as they say. This is gone, so the area that removed that is here. We have this small one just there. Let me remove this one, and we move it over here. I'll probably put it on the whole thing. Okay, so this is the hourly area above that removed it. Okay, how do we know? Because we had kind of price moved down, and we moved away, and then we cut down, accumulated, then we cut down, and then we dropped. Okay, so we have this little area here. You want to stop well above this mess. Okay, hence my mentioning that you want to go to the deepest pullback before the release, and so you definitely want to go at least. You could play this on the smaller time frames and take some small trades around this area here. Keep in mind that this is not a great area because of all the trading in the area. Price kind of moves in between these two value zones. So we had this one here, and we had one above it. Okay, so price was happy here. It moved up, moved down, tried to push, track some selling, and then it dumped. And so you can see that prior to the release, we had an attempt to attract selling up here. Okay, so I would look higher, and I would look up here, and potentially even something up here, because this is where price left the higher value zone into the lower one. Okay, so it found enough selling here to drive price down here, which essentially resulted in this move lower. Okay, so yeah, you could certainly have a look to be up there. I think that, let me remove this. This is a nice area here. What removed that? This one did. So I would be keen on looking at this here. Let's get some candles on the chart. And I'd be keen on looking at this here, Philip. I like that. That looks okay, and maybe even a little bit higher, because this is where the candle that released the high of the candle, which is going to be micro continuation pattern. Let's find it. Okay, here you can see it. I mean, you can see it here. Okay, right there. So I think from this area, let's find out what price that is. 81.95-ish area. We might have a bit of a bounce there, because when price left here, and we did let's go to the alley, we can see now, 4 hour, you can see that we managed to remove this little area here, and we took everything out here. Okay, so this is interesting. This is actually kind of like a flip zone, as they call them, because price tests, you know, like support becomes resistance, becomes support once, and then we cut away. So this is a good area here, around the 8200 area. Be generous with your stop, because price might want to feed to the upper edge of this zone in order to find sufficient selling. Okay, so keep that in mind. I think that's what I have to say about that. Cool. 23 minutes. Actually, I have to go now. I have a meeting at the school. There's been some interesting stuff going on at the school and their IT systems, and so they called me into a meeting to have a sniff around, so I'll do that. But I'll put this out there when I get back, and then we can discuss this and perhaps have a look at some more pairs. Thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions to this, by the way, just fire them off in the forum.